What is best in life? To crush your enemies, see them driven before you, and to hear the lamentation of their women.
All right. What is it? Sunday night? Must be the Sunday night Radio Baloney Live. I'm your host, Richie Baloney. How's everybody doing? We got Trudeau Survivor. It was tough surviving Trudeau. We got Rosie. We got Turtles. We got Chef Rico. Good to see you guys. All right. So let's get to the menu first. What are we talking about? We'll just go through these headlines quickly, and then we will go back to the chat, and then we'll get back to the news and go through it in detail. Let's take a look. So first off, Greenland. Greenland has a dark secret. We're going to take a look at that. Things aren't going quite so well as we thought. What's going on? We're going to talk about the Emergencies Act in Canada, the use of the Emergencies Act by the Trudeau government, which has since been ruled illegal and inappropriate by federal court in Canada, and that was challenged. It was appealed, of course, by Trudeau, and that appeal now has been dismissed. So, yeah, they just broke the law. They just broke the Constitution. Of course, nothing will happen to them, but we'll go through that. We have Mark Carney and his China-loving ways, his dictatorship, his totalitarian communist state, or really it's a fascist, neo-fascist state, China, his totalitarian neo-fascist state-loving ways. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about reaction to it from inside and outside Canada. We are going to look at what's going on with ICE because it's just a shit show every single day with all of these commie revolutionaries trying to... This is just the latest thing for them, by the way. It's just the latest thing. It's never about the issue. It's always about the revolution. We've got some more information on this. Woke Canada. Let's see. Should public schools be able to discipline parents for their political views? Well, this is interesting. That's a question posed by the Free Speech Union of Canada. We have comment here on it by Amy Eileen Ham. We're going to talk about that. Canada, it just don't be Canada. That's the thing. Just don't be it. If you're watching from outside Canada, don't be it. If you're watching from inside Canada, don't be it. We have something from Milton Friedman here, and he's always got some good advice for the world that's not crazy, because most things we hear are crazy these days. We're going to take a little bit of a look at Iran, just check in on that. Woke mind virus. Let's see. Yeah, we've got crazy leftists saying crazy things again. We have on gender ideology here. We have just crazy people that are furious that they're not allowed to, that are not allowed to do gender experiments on children. Just crazy. We'll take a look at that. We've got a meme review coming up. We always love the meme reviews. Make sure that I've got that updated. Yeah, there we go. We always love the meme reviews. They always work out great. Then we've got the last tab of the evening, which is like a ton of stuff you guys sent in. Some of which we'll show tonight. Some of it we're going to have to save for the premium stream tomorrow. We got quite a lot we got to save for the premium stream tomorrow. All right. Anyway, tons of stuff in there. Good times. All right. And and anybody watching on YouTube, please subscribe to the second channel, the new second channel. Right now, you're watching Radio Baloney, the original channel. This is only for live streams and Canadian news now. Radio Baloney News will be where all the clips for like American news, world news, UK news, all of that stuff, woke mind virus stuff, meme reviews, it's all going to Radio Baloney News from now on. So please subscribe and make a purple-haired gremlin cry. Because they will. It makes them so sad. They're always crying, but, you know, a little more isn't going to hurt. All right. So as everybody knows, hold on, I need some ranch juice. All right. So as everybody knows, we're live on Rumble, YouTube, X, and Locals right now. And of course, when you subscribe to the channel, become a channel member, send money, whatever, you get free good karma from me. But when you like the stream, it's such an easy way to get good karma. Free Radio Baloney good karma. When you like the stream, when you're one of the first ones to do it, you get extra good karma. You always get good karma, but you get extra if you get in early. Early bird catches the worm. Trudeau Survivor got the first like. which means this is a regular night. So that's a 6 good karmas right there. 6. That's a lot. Rosie got 2. That's a 5 good karmas for you. Rosie says, hello, Richie. Hello, Trudeau Survivor. Good to see you, Rosie. Let's see. Turtles got the 3rd like. So that would be 4 good karmas. 4. In these troubled times, I mean, that's got to be comforting. Greenland is on the menu, doing chores and listening. Yeah, we're going to be talking about Greenland and Greenland's dark secret. Jeff Rico, how you doing? Hello, my fellow travelers, he says. All right. Turtles, Nevada. How you doing, Nevada? Like number 5. So that's 1.5 good karmas for you, my friend, which is still pretty good. New World Order. Yeah, we'll be talking about that. Okay, I guess we just get into it, huh? Hold on. You know what I want to check first? I brought up the live now thing. I wanted to see if there's anything happening right this second. Let's take a look.
That this is an attempt.
All right, let's refresh this. Just want to see if there's anything super fresh here. Hold on.
The more you stay home, the less you want to leave.
Okay. That is true, by the way. Let's see.
Wants money to have maximum impact. Let me underscore one thing. Let me underscore one basic thing about the situation. We still do not have unimpeded aid flows, humanitarian aid flows at scale to the people of Gaza. That is a precondition for moving forward on this. Thank you.
So he's in Qatar now, Mark Carney. For some reason, the volume was turned off here. I wonder why. I wonder what he's saying. Is he talking about the New World Order or something? One of his henchmen had them turn the volume down. I don't know. Anyway, let's just get to the news. Oh wait, one more sec. Hold on 1 second. All right. Izzy, how you doing, Izzy? Like number 5. Why is that monster on the screen? Let's turn it over. Let's turn it off. Let's see. There we go. So let's go here. So Denmark would have it. They would have you believe that everything's been wonderful in Greenland. They've been wonderful stewards of Greenland and the indigenous people there. That's the way that Denmark would have it. It turns out Denmark lied. They are liars, Danish liars. Now, I think I've met one Danish person. Awesome, great guy. But the rest of them, liars, apparently. Let's take a look. Here's Scott Bessant, Treasury Secretary. What is he going to reveal about Greenland? Let's take a look.
And annex all of Greenland, something that 85% of people living in Greenland oppose.
Well, again, and let's look back. Denmark has a terrible history with Greenlanders. There was forced sterilizations up until the 80s or the 90s. So all of a sudden, now that the U.S. has expressed an interest, there is this new interest. And again, the United States needs to be in control to prevent a war, and that we do not want to get dragged into someone else's war.
And annex all of Greenland.
So forced sterilization? Denmark? No, it can't be. It can't be. But actually, it can be. Hold on a second. There was a grok. Yes, historical records show forced sterilizations of Native American women occurred in the U.S. Yeah, that has happened, but it has happened in Greenland. Denmark's forced sterilization of Greenlandic women exposed in the 2025 report proves their colonial mismanagement. Over 4,500 victims, some as young as 12, were subjected to medical abuse under Danish care. Now Europe feigns concerns. Like, nobody is innocent of this. This happened in the U.S. as well. It did happen in the U.S. as well. Right, so nobody's innocent of this stuff, but I think that Western leftists will blame the U.S. uniquely for everything and ignore when it happens outside of the United States. It's something that they actually delight in doing in Europe. So Denmark is not innocent either. I mean, is this a reason why the United States should just own Greenland in itself? No. But he's pointing out something, that it's not all just been sunshine and rainbows in Denmark, as it's not been anywhere, quite frankly, anywhere in the world. Now, let's go down a little bit here. Now, Nick Shirley did go over and ask some Greenlanders, and we did watch this video, I think 3 days ago or something, the last live stream. But, the responses here are, it seems like they can be persuaded. Let's take a look.
What do you think about the United States buying Greenland?
No more Danish.
Why do you guys not like the Danish?
Liar.
Good or bad idea for Greenland to become a part of the United States?
USA and Greenland? I think it's okay. It's good.
So if the United States were to buy Greenland and you were able to get $20,000, would you do it?
I will not say yes for money. For Greenland or money, I will choose Greenland. We live in Greenland, he cannot buy this.
For $100,000, would you guys sell Greenland? If each citizen of Greenland got $100,000, would you sell your country?
Yes.
But you said Greenland is not for sale, but you'd sell it for $100,000.
Money is money. The will boy will understand.
So they can be persuaded. It sounds like they're not totally in love with the Danish either, right? The indigenous Greenlanders, not totally in love. They're not super tied to the Danish, right? And let's go and take a look, actually. Hold on one second. Let's just pull up something more official. Let's see if I can find something on. Hold on. Denmark. Okay, hold on. All right, so here we go. And Denmark is not, uniquely guilty in this. But governments of Denmark and Greenland apologized to Inuit women for medical mistreatment, forced use of contraceptives on Inuit women and girls from the 60s to the 90s. And again, other countries, the United States did this as well in its past, right? But up until the 90s, that's pretty recent, isn't it? Hold on. So, the indigenous people there, again, it seems like they can be persuaded. It seems like they're not totally in love with the government of Denmark. Hold on. Wanted to show you something else. I thought I had something else here. Hold on. Totally unorganized again. Quite a shame. Yeah, so I don't know how much more I really want to spend on Denmark, but I do think that it's entirely possible that Trump could actually get Denmark. Now, one thing that's being brought up quite a bit is that the U.S. has basically had carte blanche in Greenland since the 1950s. They tried to purchase it then. They were unsuccessful, but they were given basically carte blanche. They were given basically carte blanche access to Greenland. There are tons of U.S. military installations there already. And so this has come up as to, well, why would you actually need it? You can do whatever you want there anyway. But I think that, if they want to go mine things there, they can do it. The U.S. can do it now. I think that what's happening is that Trump just sees Europe now collapsing and is being really an unreliable partner into the future. This is tied in with his new national defense strategy. And as the kind of Neo-Monroe doctrine, or the Donroe doctrine, as they're calling it, whereas, well, the U.S., it's just the Western Hemisphere is the U.S. now, and that's just going to be it. No more world police. Although we can do it, as we saw with Venezuela, he's also saying, we also can just take out any leader that we want, pretty much anywhere, but we really just want the Western Hemisphere. We're going to be concerned with that. Europe is a mess. We're going to disentangle ourselves from that, from NATO, very likely, right? The EU hates the United States anyway. It's very two-faced. With NATO, it's United States is wonderful. Please protect us. And then when it's the EU, it's everything. Trump is evil and bad. They mock him. They mock the United States. They hate Americans. So Trump sees this and goes, well, they're falling apart anyway. So, but in any case, my point being that I do think that Trump may get Greenland. I mean, I don't think it's a sure thing, a sure shot, but he might. He might. I mean, it wouldn't be the first time he's done something that nobody expected. Just him getting elected again in 2024, that seemed like miraculous. I mean, if you had asked anybody in 2021, is he going to get reelected? The very few people would have said, yeah. They would have said there is no chance after the way they went after him. So I don't know, but I guess we'll find out. Let's go back to the chat for a second. All right. Actually, we'll go back here. All right, what else do we got? What other shows do we have? I like this show. That's a good show. Chef Rico says, doesn't Carney have a job here? He's a globalist. All right, he's busy going out there and working on his global carbon finance, his global net zero finance framework to benefit himself and his buddies. That's what he's doing. That's what he's really doing. Let's see. Nevada says Trump already has Greenland. He's just waiting for me to rule it. JJ Nevada. One day. He says he's still working on his crown. Great. Good work. Rosie asks, didn't Denmark used to own Aruba? They are their own country now, right? I have no idea about that. I guess we'll take a look. Let's ask the computer. Did Denmark once own Aruba? Let's take a look. Well, it says they never owned it. It was a Dutch territory. So, part of the Netherlands Antilles before becoming a self-constituent country within the Kingdom of the Netherlands in 1986. While Denmark's former Caribbean colonies were the Danish West Indies, now the U.S. Virgin Islands. Aruba's history involves Spanish discovery, followed up by Dutch colonization, 1636, and its current status as a distinct country within the kingdom. So it's still actually kind of technically within it, so I don't know. But we did get a lesson there on what is Aruba. What is Aruba? Now we know. Let's see. Rosie says, with the tariffs on any country who combats his plan for Greenland, it looks possible. Yeah, I mean, he does things that you just wouldn't expect. Jeff Rico says the 2010s called and they want their climate change hoax back. Hold on. There we go. That completes it. Let's see. Story time. How you doing? Carnage is headed to be a billionaire. Yes, he is. Nobody knows how much money he has now, whether it's tens of millions or hundreds of millions. Probably not billions, but that's where he's headed. You have to consider with Carney as well. I mean, the money is obviously a huge part of it, but it's also his reputation. Like, this has been his real life work, is setting up this climate, this net zero finance framework, right? With all the constituent parts from who does the carbon credits and the carbon capture, and how do you make money from all of this, from so-called green jet fuel and getting governments to mandate that, even though it's more expensive. His life's work really as an adult has been to, at least the latter part of the last 20 years has been setting up this framework for all of his friends to make massive amounts of money off this. By the way, China, big into the carbon credits. right? So I think it's also an ego thing too, right? It's not just the money. I think it's also like this is his master plan. And it was falling apart before he became Prime Minister of Canada. Now he sees this as his opportunity. And I think before he decided to run to become Prime Minister, he saw it as his opportunity at the head of an actual country to be able to use that country as his net zero finance laboratory. And the most power that he'll ever have to try to force through this thing that nobody really wants. Let's see. Spambot, how you doing? Let's see. All right, let's move on. We can get rid of Greenland, I think, can't we? Let's get rid of Greenland. How do we get rid of it, though? All right, never mind. What do we got here? So, all right. Was this Greenland? Yeah, that's Greenland. Here's the Emergencies Act. All right. My brain's going a little slow, so I need some more ranch juice. Hold on. All right. So, the Trudeau government enacted the Emergencies Act. Used to be the War Powers or War Measures Act in Canada. They changed the name to Emergencies Act. And it's essentially, offers war powers to the Prime Minister. So suspension of everybody's rights for what they're worth in Canada anyway. They could pretty much just do that at any time anyway, but they wanted to make it official. During the Freedom Convoy, they passed the Emergencies Act so they could just crack down, so that they could freeze people's bank accounts, so they could just hunt people down and charge people with crimes for peaceful protesting. This was later ruled to have been done illegally and that it was not appropriate. That was challenged. That was a federal court decided that. That was challenged by the Trudeau government, and that challenge has now been turned down, tossed out, and it just turns out that, yes, Trudeau just did break the law. He broke the Constitution by doing that. And now there's no question. There's no argument. All right, so just to remind you of the ghouls who were a part of this, remember the smug giggle of Chrystia Freeland when she confirmed that Canadians' bank accounts had been frozen. This came with the invocation of the Emergencies Act at the Freedom Convoy protest. Well, let's take a look. Here she is at the press conference.
So you're confirming that accounts have been frozen, both personal and corporate, but you're not releasing the information. So you're confirming that accounts have been frozen, both personal and.
Can you believe this? Just you're at a press conference to announce that you are basically just suspending everybody's rights. You're going to start freezing people's bank accounts because they donated $20 to the Freedom Convoy. Just cackling, laughing. She thought it was hilarious. By the way, Mark Carney, he published an article. I've got to have it in here, don't I? Don't I have it? Am I gonna have to go look for it? I guess I'm gonna have to go look for. God damn it! All right, it'll take me just a second. Not organized again. Hold on. This won't take long though. Let's see. Just 1 second. I'm just typing away. Okay, here we go. So, here's an article that was published in the Globe and Mail, February 7th, 2022. It's time to end the sedition in Ottawa by enforcing the law and following the money. Mark Carney, February 7th, 2022. The Prime Minister now, Mark Carney, following the money. That meant freezing people's bank accounts so they couldn't afford food for their families. or pay their mortgages, right? It wasn't following the money to Carney's billionaire globalist friends. No. This was to like mums and dads who donated, $10 to the Freedom Convoy. That's what it was. Mark Carney. The sedition. It wasn't sedition, by the way. He used the word sedition. That was never sedition. Nobody. The Emergencies Act has been ruled unconstitutional. The use of it has been ruled unconstitutional. He's just wrong there. But this is an insight into who Mark Carney is. We've got some notes from Chrystia Freeland here, by the way, which are pretty insightful. From Tamara Leach published those. Hold on a second. Juno News published this in 2024. It was not a national emergency. This means that the existing laws of Canada were sufficient to deal with the crisis. That means they didn't need the Emergencies Act. Ewa Krajewska, legal counsel for the Canadian Civil Liberties Association. Let's hear it.
The federal court decided that the decision to invoke the Emergencies Act did not meet the legal threshold set out in the legislation. First, it was not a national emergency. This means that the existing laws of Canada were sufficient to deal with the crisis. The Emergencies Act is an act of last resort. It should not be invoked for convenience or expediency. Second, the situation did not rise to the level of a serious threat to the security of Canada, as that term is defined in the CSIS Act. The government argued that the economic repercussions of the blockades satisfied that definition. The court did not accept that argument. A serious threat to the security of Canada means a serious threat of violence, not economic harm. Now, some of you may have asked your...
Okay, so that was the original decision, and since then, the Trudeau appeal has been dismissed. Federal Court of Appeal ruled the Trudeau government did not meet the legal threshold to invoke the Emergencies Act. So here was some of what that unleashed. People being trampled by horses, including this elderly Indigenous woman here who got trampled. So Trudeau invoked the Emergencies Act against peaceful truckers fighting for freedom. This is from Mark Nixon here. This is from 2024. Let's hear what Trudeau had to say.
If you joined the protests because you're tired of COVID, you now need to understand that you are breaking laws.
Why? See, willful ignorance, just lying. Okay. It was the mandates, not being sick of COVID. What a disgraceful liar. And he's been replaced with an even worse liar.
The consequences are becoming more and more severe. You don't want to end up losing your license, end up with a criminal record, which will impact your job, your livelihood, even your ability to travel internationally, including to the U.S.
Well, the courts have said twice now, you're wrong, asshole. So, of course, nothing will happen to him. Absolutely nothing. Here's from January 16th. John Carpe from the Justice Center for Constitutional Freedom. So here's John Carpe from the Justice Center. Let's take a listen to this.
Great news today. The Federal Court of Appeal has affirmed a powerful lower court ruling that denounces the federal government for freezing bank accounts and inflicting violence on peaceful protesters during Freedom Convoy 4 years ago. I'm sure you'll recall Freedom Convoy, large protest in Ottawa, January, February 2022. Unlike a lot of other protests, there was no violence, no property damages, no smashed windows, no arson, no killing, no uttering threats. And yet...
Oh, by the way, the mainstream media like the CBC claimed all of those things happened. They claimed there was arson. They tried to burn down a apartment building, by the way, which was false, by the way. Putin, shadowy American far-right figures all of that. But in any case, let's continue.
Prime Minister Trudeau declared that a peaceful protest in one Canadian city, namely Ottawa, somehow constituted a national emergency. So the Justice Centre provided lawyers to 4 Canadians, Jeremiah Jost, Edward Cornell, Harold Ristow, and Vincent Gerses, and we went to court to seek a declaration that the Prime Minister had illegally declared a national emergency. And the lower court ruling came out in 2024 saying that the federal government had not met the legal requirements that were necessary to declare a national emergency. So this was a great victory for truth, justice, freedom, and the rule of law. And now today we have the Federal Court of Appeal affirming the lower court ruling and dismissing the federal government's appeal. Great day for justice. I'm John Carpe. Thanks for listening.
Unfortunately, because it's Canada and they're liberals, it's all liberals, and nothing will happen. And here on that topic, this was posted by Tokyo Rosie. Let's watch this.
To the Emergency Measures Act. The Emergency Measures Act was ruled by the courts to be illegal. Now, I'm not sure why there's no consequences for that. If I got convicted of something, I could appeal, but I would have to appeal from prison. So I'm not sure why there's been no action on that. But they froze people's bank accounts. That's unlawful search and seizure. To the emergency.
Yep. Why though? Why? Because why nobody's getting punished? Because it's Canada and they're liberals. That's why. Something that has to change. Here's from February 16th, 2022. So Dr. Leslyn Lewis, the Emergencies Act is a blunt force measure. So this was back when it happened. Let's take a look.
The Emergency Measures Act is a declaration of a state of national urgency. It is a blunt force tool that should only be used under the most serious circumstances when legal powers have been exhausted. The Canadians do not believe that this Prime Minister has exhausted all efforts. The Emergency Measures Act gives extraordinary powers to the government. The Prime Minister would have received judicial advice from judicial officers. When will this Prime Minister make that advice available to the public?
Speaker, once again, the Conservative Party is trying to have it both ways.
Well, you were wrong, asshole. That was illegal what you did. I guess have fun. I believe he's now the costume designer for Katy Perry. So I guess have fun with that. Let's see. Chris Erickson says this from January 16th. Justin Trudeau belongs in prison for his illegal use of the Emergencies Act, huh? Well, let's take a look. Let's see him here, looking totally deranged, by the way.
Getting that shot really was an amazing feeling. It hits you. Getting that shot really was an amazing feeling. It hits you.
Yeah, that's the problem. For a lot of people, it hit them very hard. Let's see. All right, hold on. Let's see. What was this here? Hold on. Wanted to. All right. So I want to go up here and show you something. 1 second. All right. What do we have here? Okay. So Wiretap Media posted this. Trudeau's NSA, Jody Thomas, admitted under oath that the Privy Council was committing federal crimes that carry a lifetime sentence. So if you think anyone will face the justice system now that the Emergencies Act was deemed unjustified, you're dreaming. January 17th, 2026. This was posted. Let's take a look.
Ma'am, you had just mentioned, and I'm glad you did, the rule of law. And you agree with me that the rule of law applies to you and it applies to the executive and the elected executive of the government of Canada.
Yes.
So what are you looking for? Are you looking that the government without warrants is allowed just to go and look into metadata?
No, that's what I just said to you.
Yeah. So
I just said to you
here's
that
the
we
thing.
should not be doing that. And so we have to find a legal framework for it. We are actually violently agreeing.
Okay, well, that's good. So, and we agree that we should follow legal frameworks.
We should. And I believe there is a gap in the legal framework.
You are not in the business, or your department is not supposed to be in the business of actually collecting intelligence yourself.
We don't collect intelligence ourselves. We don't collect intelligence ourselves.
Here you go. Yes or no? Has Parliament, via statute, given you, the National Security Advisor and the Privy Council, authority to collect and then analyze intelligence?
That no, Parliament hasn't given it authority, but it exists and it continues.
They haven't given, you haven't gotten it from Parliament, which is where it would come from, but it exists. Huh. Interesting. It shows it's just the Wild West for them. They can get away with anything. Brendan Miller. So the whole questioning and answers given by the now former National Security Advisor were bizarre. The hearing was highly political and unfair, with mounds of disclosure being dropped on us each day during the hearing. Funny enough, only after this witness testified, notes were disclosed that contradicted her testimony that she supported the invocation of the Emergencies Act. It's just, the problem is, it's just the Wild West for liberals in Canada. It's like blue cities, like Minneapolis or San Francisco are little microcosms of Canada. It's kind of the same thing. They'd like to turn all of the United States, like the people running San Francisco or Minneapolis would like to turn the entire United States into Canada. They'd be quite happy with that. Oh, and I want to go through here. So from Tamara Leach, who, persecuted by the Canadian government for years, really making an example of her, not to challenge them, not to challenge liberal power in Canada. But they have not bowed her at all. They have not cowed her at all. When you consider, she's faced the full brunt of the state. It's pretty brave to just keep going after that, right? I saved a lot of evidence from the POEC, but this morning I am going to share with you the very poorly handwritten notes from PM wannabe Chrystia Freeland. This should provide some insight as to how she really feels about everyday, hardworking Canadians who just wanted to feed their families. I'm actually shocked by how bad her handwriting is. That's even worse than mine, I think, and I thought I had the worst. Let's see. Since 2008, Canada is financially regulated, I don't even know. What is that? I can't even read that, okay? That's how bad it is. Well, let's see. There has to be a new definition of privacy. There has to be a new definition of privacy. A new definition of privacy. Chrystia Freeland's writing this. Nothing totalitarian about that. Nothing. I wonder if that new definition of privacy is not going to be privacy. The rest of it, it's impossible to read this stuff. Let's see. No idea. Something about 30 to 50%, probably 40% of truckers are unvaccinated. Well, criminals then, I guess, for Chrystia Freeland. Just bad people. Let's see. Something about Canadian Tire feeling okay. Walmart, grocers, U.S. truckers getting ready to charge higher prices to Canada, I think. I don't know. A big redacted here. Let's see. Give the banks a list of mischief makers. Is that even legal? Tamara Leach asks. Give the banks a list of mischief makers. Again, for the liberals, it's just a Wild West, right? We'll just suspend the Constitution, suspend the Charter of Rights and Freedoms. Not that it meant much from the start anyway, but we're liberals. We can do literally anything. Mischief makers, peaceful protesters with legitimate concerns. We do not want ineligible. Convoy pointing their guns at the banks seems a bit traumatic to me, but okay. Use military at borders. It's fascinating to see into the totalitarian mind of these people, of these politicians, of these rulers. It's fascinating. I mean, it's terrifying, but it's fascinating. I mean, what they would do with unrestrained power, it's terrifying. We need to think about the vaccine mandate. Is there a number in mind? We need to think about the vaccine mandate. Is there a number in mind? You need to designate this group as a terrorist group and seize their assets and illegible them. So we need to designate. We need a court order to act on something. You need to designate the group as a terrorist group. What, the truckers? Seize the assets and something, impair or impound them, maybe something like that. Again, this is just a look into the dark heart of the leftist politician in Canada. Label them as terrorists. Apparently, that's okay without evidence. Just go ahead and label them as such. This is the way they think, and it's terrifying. Of course, they want to change the crowdfunding rules to decide what Canadians can raise money for and what they can't. Again, I'd look into the dark totalitarian heart of the Liberal Party in Canada, and apparently everybody in it. Terrifying. So, I mean, we won. I mean, sanity won in the courts. Unfortunately, it doesn't mean much because there's not going to be any consequences. There's no liberal in power. Mark Carney's going to look at this and go, okay, so it doesn't matter. We can actually be found guilty in the courts and it still doesn't matter. So we can just literally do anything and nothing will ever matter. So, it's a victory, but it's kind of, it's a Pyrrhic victory, I guess you would say. Unfortunately, I think things need to change in Canada quite a bit. I think we need to have a constitutional crisis, actually. All right, let's go to the chat. What do we got here? Coffee lady. There's the bruschetta lady. I do like bruschetta. Let's see. Danny, how you doing? Good to see you. All right, let's go back in the chat a little bit. Just to remind everybody watching over on YouTube, a second channel, Radio Baloney News. That's where all the world news, U.S. news, like UK news, meme reviews, woke mind virus stuff, all going on that channel now. Please go there and subscribe. The algorithm ain't going to help me out. So please do that. A purple-haired gremlin will cry if you do, and that's always a good thing. All right. Go back through the chat here. All right. Let me just get caught up in the chat, you guys. Chef Rico asks, are those people still in jail for the trucker protest? No, they got out not that long ago. Chris Barber and Tamara Leach. Let's see. Storytime says, yet nobody is in jail. Yes. There has to be fundamental changes in Canada, I feel. Let's see. Nevada said, Hershey's going to Ukraine to work for the Nazis. She is indeed. She is indeed. Let's see. Deep roots there. Rosie asks, when will Tamara Leach be pardoned? Well, she's released, but she's released with a bunch of conditions. She's basically paroled right now with a bunch of ridiculous conditions on her. She's been treated so much worse than actual criminals and who've committed serious violent crimes. It's a stain on the country. Nevada says simply, true Gina. True Gina. Let's see. Izzy asks, Richie, did you see Press for Truth? What is that? It sounds familiar, but right off the top of my head, I can't remember. Well, I see you posted a link here. We'll go to that later, maybe. And he's calling for a new. We've talked about the New World Order. I think we're going to talk about that tonight as well. Turtle says Trugina is retarded. He is retarded. He is.
I have a slight learning disability.
We know, Justin. We know. Boy, do we know. He has some early dirt on Mark Carney, as he says. Well, we'll check that out later. I'm done. I think we've still got more Mark Carney that I've put aside, so we'll deal with that afterwards. He's always been a globalist slimeball. Well, I've been saying this on the channel for a long time. I've been saying this since he first stuck his hand up to be prime minister. Chef Rico says, so when the right protests, the liberal governments had to come down hard, make an example of them, tyrants. Yes, exactly. You're only allowed to protest if it aligns some way with the liberals' purposes. Let's see. All right. Well, we'll take a look at it then. Why not? Where is it? Where is that link? Saying at the 5-minute mark, roughly. Give me 1 second. Pull it up quick. Paste. All right. Let's see. So this is from the chat.
I know many of you won't like what I'm about to say.
Oh, what's going on? Stop that. And let's go into where? About 5-minute mark? Why won't it let me do that? Why won't it let me do that? God damn it.
Say on this stream, but the truth needs to be heard.
Well, for some reason, it's not letting me go ahead, and I don't want to watch. Oh, there we go. Okay, that's it. It was an ad.
Screaming specifically about Carney from the rooftops for 16 years. 16 years ago, on video, I warned you that Mark Carney was a key player in the globalist takeover. People called me crazy. And now, he's the prime minister. And he's openly admitting it.
Now here in Canada, we do have our own national bank. But as a condition of joining the G7, which became the G8 and is now the G20, we gave up the right to loan ourselves money at no interest. We gave that right up to the IMF, the International Monetary Fund, who is not held accountable to us whatsoever. Now, the current governor of the Bank of Canada, Mark Carney, was once on the payroll for an organization known as Goldman Sachs. Now, Goldman Sachs is currently under investigation for fraud down in America. So now here we have a guy who was once involved with international private bankers, now heading up the Bank of Canada, trying to get us to take loans from the International Monetary Fund and pay interest on these loans.
I told you he was a globalist Trojan horse, but I guess too many people were way too fast asleep back then to heed my warning. And 10 years ago, I hit the streets of Vancouver asking everyday people, would you want a new world order? Their answers were yes. Over and over again. I was trying to show you that the brainwashed masses will accept their own chains.
You know, that's a scary thing. Right? We hear, New World Order, and we think of just total centralization of power, total loss of freedom, the inability to make any decision for yourself, and that's scary to us. We don't like that. There's lots of people, I can tell you, there's lots of people in Canada who do like that. Everything. These are the people these are the end of history people, the people who think we're at the end of history. Nothing bad can ever really happen again. So that when people offer them nice, comforting words about, essentially removing all responsibility from them, the government and some world government taking over, that sounds great because nothing can ever really go wrong. They don't know anything. They don't know anything about history. They're totally historically illiterate. They can't imagine a brutal government actually brutalizing them. Right? It's fine when they see it do it against people they don't like. The people that the teleprompters on the CBC have told them that they shouldn't like, then that's a good thing. But them, no, that could never happen. Right? It's unimaginable to them that they could ever starve to death, that they could ever watch their families or their friends starve to death. That's normal in history. Right? The kind of wealth that Canada has enjoyed in the post-war period is not the norm. That's an anomaly. Right? Things can go back to that right away. We could be living in a state like China, right, with millions of people in concentration camps. North Korea exists right now. Like, that's all possible. It's just a matter of what kind of country do you have? What are the ethics of your country? What does your country stand for? What are the foundations of your country? These things can all happen. Like, we're not at the end of history. Things can get really bad, just as bad as they ever were, and as bad as they are in certain places in the world right now. That could happen in Canada, in the U.S., everywhere. There's just, unfortunately, a lot of very naive people out there. Let's see. Who really would welcome it? They welcome the boot on their face. Let's see. Trudeau Survivor asked, did Trudeau really take the jab? I see no reason he wouldn't. He would have seen it as a virtuous thing to do. Been very proud of it. I mean, I have a friend who just keeps getting the jabs. I must be on 20 by now. Great guy, but sees it as he sees it as a virtue, right? Sees it as something to brag about for some reason. Turtle says 1 million members of Congress were exempt from taking the shot. And government members, WTF. Let's see. What the heck? Turtle says our governor in Washington is now creating a victory tax on all tickets, merch, etc. for the Seahawks winning. What a joke. That's insane. That doesn't surprise me, though. Let's see. All right. Turtle says she went to the Quality Leering Center, probably. Sounds like it. Let's see. Spambot says nothing will change in Canada until the oligarchs are faced with Alberta voting to secede. They probably send the military in, quite frankly, at this point. I don't think there's anything they don't feel they can get away with. Denny says Scott Moe's face was priceless when Mark mentioned about the New World Order. I wonder if should we take a look at that? Hold on, because we've got that clip of him in here. Where is it? It's down, I think. Here we go. Was this the clip? No, it's not that one. Here we go. All right, let's take a look.
Canadian Prime Minister to China in nearly a decade. The world has changed much since that last visit. And I believe the progress that we have made in the partnership sets us up well for the new world order.
What? Huh? Hold on. Wait a second.
World order.
What? He wasn't ready for that. Why is he talking so slow as well? Carney, so somber. It's like
visit of a Canadian Prime Minister to China in nearly a decade for the new world order.
I mean, maybe it's for the translator, he wants to make sure they get the New World Order part right. Doesn't want that to be misunderstood, right? Uh, everything about this stinks, but we'll get into that. That's actually the next tab we're going to be doing. But let's go through the chat just a little bit more. Let's see. Let's see. Trudeau Survivor says multiple ongoing jabs were labeled as a conspiracy theory by the legacy media. Who was it that was there back before Elon had it, when it was Twitter? It was Dave was it Dave Rubin? Had his Twitter suspended for showing the vaccine card. It had 2 lines on it. I think it was Dave Rubin, I think. And saying, yeah, there's gonna be it might be somebody else, but in any case, somebody put that out. They had their Twitter account suspended for saying, hey, there's 2 lines here. I think that they want to give you more than 1 jab. And they did. And it was way more than 1 they wanted to give you. Spambot says, if Canada sends the military against Alberta, the USA will intervene. I don't think that's a certainty. Spambot says, the U.S. State Department wants Alberta to not be part of Canada. Yep. I don't know if that's a certainty, right? Because there's a lot of complications trying to bring them in. I think as an ally, I think they'd probably like Alberta to be, or they wouldn't mind. I don't know. I mean, look, they've got people at the Pentagon writing reports and scenarios and gaming out all of these scenarios like 24/7, every scenario you could imagine with every country in the world, right? So there'd be upsides and downsides to American security. So that would fundamentally weaken Canada and destabilize Canada. They'd have to weigh that against just having, you know, absolute access to the oil there. I don't know. I mean, Canada was never going to become the 51st state. That's just crazy. That was never going to happen. That was obviously a joke by Trump. That's just not something that would even be possible, or that the Americans would want, or Trump would ever actually really want. So I don't know. I don't think it's a given that the U.S. would send. I mean, the greatest chance that it would happen would be if Trump was president at the time, but he's not going to be president forever. He's got 3 years left, right? So I don't know. It's possible with Trump. Maybe only with Trump, though. Turtle says 26 votes were registered to a porta potty in Arizona. Oh, God. Izzy says, what a creepy way to say it, too. Talking about Carney. New World Order. Chef Rico says, sounds like a hostage video. Well, he just went and humiliated himself in China. Trudeau Survivor says, Carney is a hostage taker. George Bush Sr., according to Turtles, did a declaration to join the New World Order. U.S. Spambot says, USA has more troops in Fort Bragg than all of Canada. Well, the military has been degraded. It's not just under the Liberals either, also under Harper as well. As Canada has been kind of forced further to the left, even conservatives, that means more like benefit spending, that sort of thing. And so that's been a long-term, decades-long problem for Canada. But that doesn't mean that the United States is just going to send troops across. They're not. If there was a civil war, then you might expect something like that, possibly. But that's also not a guarantee, right? And the legal, if Alberta can get the requisite number of signatures of votes in a referendum to separate from Canada, then it's still years Years of wrangling going on anyway, legal wrangling going on anyway. It's not like it would just happen the next day. And Trump's not going to be there forever. So Spambot says Canada doesn't have enough military to do it. Well, to do what? To send to Alberta? Or to fight? Well, obviously, he can't fight the United States. Obviously, that would be over in 3 seconds. But that doesn't mean that scenario is going to happen, though, either, right? Fort Bragg has enough room to invite and house all of Canada's troops. Yeah, I agree with you. You're right. You're right about that. That's one USA. Yeah, but also, but that doesn't mean they're going to send them to Canada for any reason ever. So even a civil war, that doesn't mean that. I mean, would it be likely in a civil war? Probably, but you just don't know. And again, like, presidents change and they have different agendas, right? So I don't think anything you're saying is wrong here. I just think that you can't have certainty, is all I'm saying, that this thing is going to definitely happen. So if this thing happens, this thing is definitely going to happen. I think it's way more complicated. But it's true. Yes. I mean, if they wanted to, but that's it. If they wanted to, there's no stopping them, right? But that's different than will it actually happen. All right. So here's Mark Carney. So Marty up north posted this clip. This is a World Economic Forum with Mark Carney speaking in it, because Mark Carney's deeply tied in with the World Economic Forum. It says, again, why is anyone shocked that Carney uttered the words New World Order? It's the main theme of his book, Values. Here's a video that I've shared many times before. It's from the World Economic Forum, and it's narrated by Carney himself. Now, New World Order seems to mean different things, or it's described as different things, but they all kind of are the same thing. Basically, centralized control globally is really what it comes down to, and there's different ways of achieving that. One is through finance, essentially, and that is where Carney comes into this. His global net zero finance framework he's putting together. Let's take a look.
Time is running out to make this transition to net zero, to have a sustainable world. We need to transition the energy system on the scale of the Industrial Revolution at the speed of the digital transformation. In order to do that, we're going to need a fundamental transformation, really a revolution in the financial system. And I'd say that revolution started.
You notice in this too how it's always just taken for granted that what they're saying, these frankly insane plans of changing the global climate, these insane claims, they make these incredibly grand claims, all based on modeling, which, okay, modeling, like computer modeling. How certain are we that these models that they come up with in their computers are totally accurate for 5 years, 10 years, 20? It hasn't been very accurate so far. 100 years? Are they going to be accurate for 100 years, 200 years? Again, they're having trouble with, like, right now. So, but everything is presented as being just a certainty. So what Mark Carney is saying is certain. We must do these things.
Really in earnest with COP26. 2 years ago, only $5 trillion in the financial system was explicitly committed to net zero. That number grew to $130 trillion. That's 40% of global financial assets. Global financial institutions can play a number of roles to help economies in the transition. First, the most obvious is to get money, to get capital to those companies that have plans to get their emissions down. And so part of that,
get money to those companies that have plans to get their emissions down. I wonder if Mark Carney wants to do that through subsidies to companies that he and Brookfield has some interest in. I wonder.
Is, I'd say, the easy bit. which is to build new renewable power, wind, solar, soon at great scale hydrogen, also hydroelectric, and in some cases nuclear. But the more complex part is finding those companies in industries that have high emissions. Think of the steel industry, aviation, much of manufacturing, and finding those companies that have plans, that have to make big investments to get those emissions down.
It's all about the money. It's all, with Carney, I mean, he was the UN climate finance envoy. Okay.
Put a number around it, it's an extra $2.5 to $3 trillion a year of additional finance that we have to find in order to get those emissions down. But that's not all that finance can do. What finance has to do as well is to provide capital.
So this is what you're going to live in poverty for his plans, to find all of these countless trillions of dollars. This is why you're not going to be able to fly. It's going to be too expensive. He'll be able to. Him and his friends will be able to. There'll be a class of people that'll be able to do that, right? This is why you're not going to be able to have steak. This is why you're going to have to get used to not owning anything and being happy. This is why you're going to have to get used to, if there is a car, it's a shared neighborhood car. This is all stuff from the WEF, by the way. You can find on their own website. Don't like eating bugs? Mark Carney's going to need you to eat some bugs so he can, get those last few nickels for his global climate finance funds. He's going to need that money to subsidize carbon capture companies that he'll make money from. So in Mark Carney's respect, that's what the New World Order is. But there's it's a New World Order in another respect as well. And that is a realigning of power in the world from the United States to China. So multipolar world with China as the emerging power and the power that eventually takes over the United States. That's the other part of this. That's the other part of the New World Order that Carney is talking about. And that's why he's talking about a strategic alliance with China. Canada and China strategic alliance. He could have just gone over there and just cut a deal with EVs and agricultural products from Canada and then left and said, hey, well, it's not perfect, but it's something, I guess, which would be about the best he could say. But no, it was a strategic alliance on intelligence and policing. Why does he need to do that? Why does he need to do a strategic alliance? Well, that means that he's allying with China over the United States, obviously. Our neighbor, the most powerful country in the world, largest military in the world by far. So this is the other part of New World Order. For some reason, and I think it's entirely climate finance related or Carney finance related, he wants to partner up with a strategic alliance for the New World Order with China. That's insane. That's completely batshit crazy. Now, if you do want an invasion from the United States, that's the sort of thing you do. And then you stick with it until it becomes completely intolerable. So the whole thing is just total lunacy in my mind. But anyway, let's continue. Let's see. Taiwanese official warns Carney boosting ties with China will leave Canada vulnerable to coercion. Mark Carney is a globalist. He's a man of the world. He's barely spent any time as an adult living in Canada. He parachuted in from the EU. He does not give a shit about Canada. He can get a passport for any country in the world that he wants. He had several before he became prime minister. He did have to get rid of a couple of, I think 2 or 3 other passports that he had. Irish was one. But he can just go live anywhere. He's come into Canada. He's taken over. Canada has now become his net zero laboratory. He is going to he's going to take every penny that he can from Canada. He's going to max out the national credit card. All right. By the way, remember, we've got the almost $100 billion deficit this year, more than twice what Trudeau was going to do. Right. So he's spending. Oh, he's spending. He's maxing out the country's national credit card for his net zero goals to promote his global net zero financial framework. He's going to be gone, and he's not going to give a damn what happens to Canada afterwards. He does not care. That's a pointless. I mean, they thought the El Bozos thought that they were electing this uber Canadian patriot. He does not care. Why hadn't he been in Canada? He barely spent any time in Canada. He parachuted in from the EU right just in time to become prime minister. Can you imagine that? Cozying up to China. It's just totally insane. Again, you can go over there, cut a deal, cut a deal for trade. It's fine. Come back again. You don't have to pledge allegiance to Xi. Why would you do that? It's insane. All right. All right, let's go back to the chat. Let's see. What are you guys talking about? Let's see. Spambot says, if Alberta votes to leave and Canada sends troops, I will take up arms. I don't think you'd be alone in that, Spambot. Spambot says, New World Order is the oligarchs. It's like a hydra. It's a many-headed thing, I think. Carney is in charge of the finance part of it. I think we can all agree on that. But the finance part of it needs centralization of power, right? And that's the main thing. That's the crux of it. That's at the center of it, is the centralization of power into one small body. That's where it's going. Bambot says, where the banking class gets rich by impoverishing the common class. Yeah. Jeff Rico says, too many libs in Canada, keep them. Well, the thing is, even Alberta, look, the cities, the two major cities in Alberta, Edmonton and Calgary, have been run by the new guy, Farkas in Calgary. I'm not sure. I don't know much about him. I know the previous two mayors over the last 15 years, total far left lunatics. They got a far left lunatic running Edmonton right now. There are plenty of leftist loonies in Alberta, not enough to elect a far leftist premier right now. But look, NDP had 4 years not that long ago, right? So let's see. As he says, live in the pods, eat the bugs, and be happy or made. Yeah, medical assistance and dying. Canada's a world leader in that, by the way. Killing its own people. As he says, he was there to sell Canada out. Trudeau survivor says Carney's Century Initiative and his climate change goals are ideologically incompatible. Well, I think that the Century Initiative, which was the goal, is to bring Canada's population up to 100 billion this century, which they're already way ahead on that. I'm sure they could hit 300 billion, at this point. Well, no, but the idea is to bring in a permanent underclass that will vote for you. You give them goodies, and they'll vote for you forever. That's the idea. So I'm not sure that I don't think that it's incompatible. As he says, I'm sure Carney will invite China here to Canada for more military training. I know. Trudeau had Chinese troops here to train in winter warfare. Can you believe this? Total insanity. Just like True China. True China did. Yep. Rosie says, so awful. It's unbelievable. Jeff Rico says, right now, Danielle Smith has huge leverage. Yeah, she's great. I love Danielle Smith. I think she is by far the best premier in Canada. Nevada says, where's my noodles? You want noodles? You want noodles? You got noodles, my friend. There we go. I find this so calming. It's hypnotic, right? It's extremely hypnotic. There's something very meditative about it. I don't know. It's very soothing. I'm feeling soothed already. It's fantastic. Anyway, she can really work a noodle. Let's see. All right. All right, so we will be coming back to noodles, but right now we're going to just move on. So let's go to some U.S. news. Clown World posted this clip, and it says, if you're blocking agents during a child offender arrest, you're on the wrong side, period. So this is what these ICE agents have to put up with on a daily basis, apparently. And he seems just confounded by how they could be opposed to what he's doing, considering the kind of monster that he's going after. And what he doesn't understand is that they might as well be aliens from a different planet. They just don't think the same way. They don't care who it is he's getting. They've been told that he's bad and he must be stopped. That's as far as it goes. Let's take a look.
Second reporting. We're here to arrest a child sex offender. And you guys are out here honking.
Oh, they're not. No, we're press. We're not.
That vehicle right there is honking and impeding our investigations while we're trying to arrest a child sex offender. That's who you guys are protecting. Insane. That's what we're doing. My warrant's not for you. My warrant is not for you. I don't have to do it. It's insane.
Did you, that one there, she's saying, they're lying, don't listen to them. They're lying, don't listen to them. They don't care. These people don't care. These people are so morally confused that there's no point trying to understand them. There's no point. They've just been told that guy is bad. So just try and stop him. He's bad. It doesn't matter. He's telling you what he's saying. Actually, we're getting somebody who hurts children. Right? Like we're getting like the worst kind of person that there is. Well, he's lying. Don't believe him. This is like talking to aliens, right? This is like talking to an alien who just showed up on the planet 3 minutes ago. It's scary, as a matter of fact, when you see these people. And if you ever try and talk to them, because again, they can't be reasoned with. They can't think rationally. It's impossible. They are purely ideologically motivated, and this is the woke mind virus in action. I'm not being facetious when I say that these people are like zombies. Their brains have been parasitized by a mind virus, by an idea pathogen, and they have lost their free will. They've lost their ability to reason. Now they just serve the mind virus, and their purpose is to spread the mind virus to other weak-minded people. And it genuinely is disturbing, though, right? Like, it's kind of chilling when you see this. Don't listen to them. They're lying, she says. Why would she say that? She doesn't know that. She's just saying that. She's just saying she would rather somebody, the guy that they're after, get away and harm children, like to do the worst crimes that there are, that exist. She would rather that than just say, well, maybe they've got a point. No. Again, might as well be a zombie. In fact, is a zombie. I'm not being facetious when I say that. Leftists, they're not just stupid and uninformed. They're genuinely evil, shitty people. I don't even want to talk about that one. That's too dark. Let's see. Doesn't matter. Blocking agents is an offense. Blocking agents is an offense in itself. They should be arrested. Yeah, I'd say so. Let's see. All right. But this is the sort of thing where you start to really worry about civilization, right? Let's see what's going on here. This is from today. Feds barricade Minneapolis building as anti-ICE mob surrounds it. It's getting loud outside the Bishop Henry Whipple Federal Building. Deputies just rolled in with 15 vehicles, throwing up a wall and suiting up for crowd control. So this is because of the local leadership, the state leadership. That's why all this is going on.
Old West! Yeah, for the people to help, rather than stand out here and look like a bitch.
So maybe we will check in back with that in a little bit, an update, because things pop off really quick. What's going on here? Anti-ICE protesters in Minneapolis made a man take off his American flag hoodie that said freedom. Take it off and you won't get hurt. Now, apparently he was there actually in support of them, but they don't care. Let's take a look.
Take it off. Nazi butt. Take it off. We gave you a chance.
Saying Nazi because he's wearing an American flag hoodie that says freedom on it. They're telling us who they are. They're telling us who they are. They're not ashamed of it. He's a Nazi because he's got an American flag freedom hoodie. That makes him a Nazi.
There you go. I got you. You're good. Get your ass up out of here. Drop your knees. Get your knees. Drop it. I gave you a chance.
He's walking like he's been injured as well. These are the good guys. Didn't you know? Those are the good guys. Let's see. He's originally from India, but came here 25 plus years ago and became an American citizen. On a couple of occasions, he broke up fights and did his best to diffuse situations. Well, they're not there. Those people are not there to diffuse situations. All he wanted was for people to be peaceful. He talked about how proud he was to be an American. However, he believed that ICE was being a bit excessive, which is why he came out to join the protests against them. I imagine that after today, his views will change. Yeah, he wasn't joining the good guys. Let's see. Is there anything else here? Let's see. What's this? Yeah, this guy, Jake Lang, got attacked. He had to be literally lynched by an anti-white mob of liberals and illegal immigrants. I'm at the hospital now getting staples in my skull. They call themselves the good guys. These are the people that like the CBC and the BBC and CNN and MSNBC that they love. These people. These are all the good guys. These are the peaceful protesters in the winter of love. They're just against racism and stuff. That's all. Didn't you know? Let's see. Overton posted this. It's official. Minneapolis is now in the middle of the winter of love. Here's the mayor, Jacob Frey. Let's take a look.
Minneapolis. It's about.
Hold on. Maybe I'll actually
Love.
go back. It's about love, he says. Good Lord. Okay.
This is not just about resistance here in Minneapolis. It's about love. We are showing something far more powerful and consequential here, which is love. We are standing.
Look at that. Look at them lovingly breaking that open from the cop car. Look at them lovingly doing that, lovingly attacking people.
Up for one another. You've got neighbors helping neighbors. You've got people uniting and coming together in this beautiful way. This is not just about resistance.
So you've got the lie and then you've got reality. So it really is just, a truism at this point that what they say is the opposite of what they do. And what they accuse you of is what they're doing. They've either done or are presently doing or are planning on doing every single time. So many dumb people fall for it. It's amazing. Oh, yeah. A group of white male engineers eating at Clancy's Deli in Minneapolis were surrounded and accosted by far left extremists who mobilized to the scene because someone thought the men were ICE agents. I guess they were going to shower them with all that love.
This is so cool. I mean, so cool as in like This has got to be the funniest thing I've ever seen. I know, it's like, you feel like a zoo. I've never.
So clear. So clear.
Oh my God. What? We do custom apps for a whole bunch of companies around Minnesota and the country.
Why are you?
Because you're filming us. Here.
Is this really what people want? Is this really what those people out of the street there, those lunatics want? Because that could be them. Because they're just harassing random people here. They could be that random person. Is that really the kind of society you want to live in? Are you sure? Are you sure, far left loonies? They're not going to think about it. They're just not. All right. Back to the chat for a minute. Let's see. Let's see. Izzy says, running on pure tribalism, you're not one of them, so they can't see you as anything more than the other. Yeah. Yeah. Nevada wants back to noodles. Well, we came back. Trudeau's Forever says, illegal aliens are angels. They are the noble savage reincarnate. Well, I'm afraid the noble savage myth is alive and well, unfortunately. Let's see. Let's see. Trudeau's Forever says he's Kramer and the Ribbon in real life. Worse, though. I wonder if he will have an epiphany after that. I assume so. Let's see. Anything is better than those lunatics. Trudeau's Forever says, I wonder if the cops have beater cars they sacrifice to the mob. I wonder. That's an interesting question, actually. Special decoy beater cars. Let's go to, okay, so what do we have here? Free Speech Union of Canada. Should public schools be able to discipline parents for their political views? No, of course not. But that doesn't seem to stop some schools from trying. A mother and FSUC member was banned for 2 months from her kid's school for her brief but vocal objection to the land acknowledgement ritual at her child's school performance. So Free Speech Union of Canada has stepped in to provide a lawyer and help remove the ban. This is, I think, pretty typical of Canada now. Total insanity. Amy Eileen Ham says, the SFU is helping a mother who was banned from her daughter's school and had child protection called on her because she opposes land acknowledgements. Educators in Canada are drunk on power. Think about how evil that is, right? They're hoping that her daughter gets taken away from her for disagreeing with them ideologically. Just think about how evil that is. When we saw them celebrating after Charlie Kirk was assassinated, You know, you think, well, it doesn't really get much worse than that, but it's so deep, this hatred that's been bred in them, that they've been indoctrinated into, like literally calling child protection. I mean, that's an attempt to have her child removed from her for ideological reasons, for being politically incorrect. That's full on Soviet, folks. That's full on Soviet Union right there. This is how you don't think it can get really bad. I think maybe the difference between conservatives, or whatever we're calling conservative these days, and the batshit crazy, which is the left, the difference is the left, I think, don't understand we're not at the end of history, in the sense that things can get bad. Like societies can be destroyed, right? You can be dirt poor. You can starve to death. You can watch your family starve to death. Okay. This is the norm in history. This is, we're at a blip of wealth right now, and human well-being and freedom. That's a blip in history. That's not the norm. That's not normal in human history. This is the exception. And the left doesn't seem to understand this, that if you tear everything down, if you give away all of your freedoms, things can get really bad for you. Really bad. Like authoritarian, like North Korea exists right now. Your country can turn into North Korea. That can happen. Now, those of us in this, under this big umbrella called conservatism, whatever that means now, are aware of this. We're aware that things can get really bad. Everything isn't going to just magically turn out okay. We can't just burn down society, just smash the foundations of Western civilization, and somehow everything's going to magically turn out okay. No, we realize, no, that's going to turn out terribly. And in fact, you can watch your family die in front of you, or your family can watch you die totally unnecessarily. Like, things can get really bad. You can live in North Korea. North Korea exists now. And North Korea is not alone in being in inflicting horrors upon its own people right now in the world right now. So we understand things can get worse, way worse, really bad, unimaginably bad. The left doesn't seem to. They think they can just burn the whole thing down, and magically there'll be this utopia sitting on top of it. We disagree. All right, let's move on. So, Desiree Fixler posted this. Milton Friedman said it decades ago, and he was right. So, let's take a look at Milton Friedman. We bring him up every once in a while, Let's listen.
I've always been amused by a kind of a paradox. Suppose you go around and ask people. The United States, as you know, before 1914 had completely free immigration. Anybody could get on a boat and come to these shores, and if he landed on Ellis Island, he was an immigrant. Was that a good thing or a bad thing? You will find hardly a soul who will say it was a bad thing. Almost everybody will say it was a good thing. But then I suppose I say to the same people, but now what about today? Do you think we should have free immigration? Oh, no, they'll say, we couldn't possibly have free immigration today.
Well, this is, from a while ago. So this is decades ago. So unfortunately, now they will say that, but let's continue.
Why, that would flood us with immigrants from India and God knows where. We'd be driven down to a bare subsistence level. What's the difference? How can people be so inconsistent? Why is it that free immigration was a good thing before 1914 and free immigration is a bad thing today? Well, there's a sense in which that answer is right. There's a sense in which free immigration, in the same sense as we had it before 1914, is not possible today. Why not? Because it is one thing to have free immigration to jobs. It is another thing to have free immigration to welfare. And you cannot have both. If you have a welfare state, if you have a state in which every resident is promised certain minimum level of income or a minimum level of subsistence, regardless of whether he works or not, produces it or not, well, then it really is an impossible thing. If you have free immigration in the way in which we had it before 1914, everybody benefited. The people who were here benefited. The people who came benefited. Because nobody would come unless he or his family thought he would do better here than he would elsewhere. And the new immigrants provided additional resources, provided additional possibilities for the people already here. So everybody can mutually benefit. But on the other hand, if you come under circumstances where each person is entitled to a pro rata share of the pot, to take the extreme example, or even to a low level of the pot, then the effect of that situation is that free immigration would mean a reduction of everybody to the same uniform level. Of course, I'm exaggerating. It wouldn't go quite that far, but it would go in that direction. And it is that perception that leads people to adopt what at first seem like inconsistent values.
Yeah, like infinite immigration and a welfare state that will collapse your economy and it will turn your country into a poor country. And I think modern leftists just can't get it into their heads that it's entirely possible, okay, that what they call poor is nothing. All right? That ain't nothing. Okay? I think you're a college graduate, white leftist woman can't get it into her head that, yes, it's entirely possible that she could be genuinely poor, like really can't eat poor, like desperately needs food, desperately needs to find food somewhere because she hasn't had any for 2 days. That can happen. That's entirely possible. Right? Again, this level of wealth and prosperity and freedom is a blip in human history. It's not the norm. And it wants to move back. It wants to move back to the norm again. And you've got all these fools who are completely historically illiterate that are desperate to make it happen. Again, they're convinced that we're at the end of history. Nothing really bad can ever happen again, even though really bad things are happening right now all over the world. All right. What are you guys saying? Let's see. Denny says, wow, the left really needs help. Yeah, I can say that again. Let's see. Amazing faces. Good to see you. All right. Chef Rico says, Iran 2.0. I mean, modern Canada. Modern Canada is sinking fast. With the states, even under Biden, you still had GDP per capita going up. I think it'll accelerate under Trump once his policies really hit. But even under Biden, you still had GDP per capita going up. In Canada, it's going the wrong way. Like, we are really facing a catastrophe in this country. And unfortunately, more than half the country refuses to acknowledge it. Let's see. All right, let's move on to the next thing. Iran. We don't have a ton on this, but I wanted to just do a check-in. A man of memes posted this. Iran is a war zone, and the regime is losing control. A man in Iran just spoke to Fox News using Starlink, one of the only ways the truth is getting out, thanks to Elon Musk, who provided this free service to all Iranian citizens when their communications was cut off. Yeah, funny. I haven't seen CBC or any of the mainstream media talking about that for some reason. I guess it doesn't go with the narrative. Let's hear this.
Further south in the city of Isfahan, Fox News was able to make contact with a man who is using Starlink. He described battles between protesters and security forces who are using live ammunition. On the call, he said the government has really repressed them using weapons of war against the demonstrators. At the moment, the situation for the demonstrators in the street, the atmosphere is like a war zone, and some people are trying to escape from it. I have to emphasize that among Iranian people, Trump is the most popular person right now. He has so much popularity because of the steps that he took toward preventing the growth of terrorism in the Middle East. They respect him. The internet blackout in Iran continues, making it difficult for people to get new information, although international calls were briefly going through overnight. Further south in the city of Isfahan, Fox News was
So, yeah, I mean, there's not much getting out. But, nobody really knows exactly what's going on there. But I mean, obviously my hopes are with the Iranian people. It's a very young country. Actually, a lot of people's parents died in the war with Iraq, actually, which was brutal. This is Reza Pahlavi. So he is like the last remaining descendant of the Shah, and he sees himself as being the next leader. I have no idea how the people of Iran feel about that. He says the battle in Iran today is between occupation and liberation. The Iranian people have called for me to lead. I will return to Iran. Well, I don't know how true that is, but let's hear him. I mean, really, when you've got the Ayatollahs, most things are an improvement over that.
The people of Iran are being slaughtered in the streets and in their homes by a regime that shows no mercy. More than 12,000 Iranians were massacred in 48 hours. One murder every 14 seconds. The battle in Iran today is not between reform and revolution. It is between occupation and liberation. And the Iranian people have already chosen their side. Their heads are bloodied, but unbowed. Despite the lies you're hearing from the regime, its bloodlust has not diminished. The slaughter has not stopped. My brave compatriots, still holding the line with their broken bodies, but unbreakable will. The people have not retreated. Their determination has made one thing clear. They are not merely rejecting this regime, they are demanding a credible new path forward. The Iranian people are taking decisive actions on the ground. It is now time for the international community to join them fully. I will return to Iran. The people of Iran have risen to reclaim their country. History will honor those who stand with them. Long live Iran.
So I have no idea how much support he has or what kind of man he has. He comes across there as having kind of a gentle manner, actually. He doesn't come across as having that kind of as a crazy strong man, but who knows? I mean, that doesn't mean anything. But that's long live the Shah, Oli London says. I don't know anything about it. I have to be honest. This is just the latest news I've seen that I mean, I've heard a lot of news about how people are locked down and only allowed to go out, at certain times to get necessities, food, whatnot. But I don't know. We'll keep an eye on it. All right, what do we got here? So, Jamie Bunkiewicz. She posted this. Let's see. The Secret Service came to my door today because of a tweet. No threats, no violence, just words. That's where we are now. Okay, so then James Lindsay reposted this. Let's see what the tweet said. Oh, let's see. So that's the same person. When Carolyn Levitt gets what she deserves, I hope it's televised. What did she say? The Secret Service came to my door today because of a tweet. No threats, no violence, just words. That's where we are now. Okay, this is not saying that she's going to do anything. but she's saying when Carolyn Levitt that's the White House press secretary, gets what she deserves, I hope it's televised. So, to my knowledge, she has not been arrested, but she's been visited. And that doesn't seem surprising, right? I mean, this could be seen as encouragement to murder. And this kind of, I hope it's televised. It kind of belies the messaging in here, as if she's just a nice woman just living her life who just sent out a tweet and there's no threats and no violence, just words. Well, there is violence in this. You're saying that you hope she gets assassinated live on television. So that's somebody in the administration. Why would you think you wouldn't get a visit? Like, why? There is something very wrong with the modern left. Very, very. It's something that's new. It's gone to a different level. The level of fanaticism and violence and I don't know, like cognitive dissonance. I find it baffling. It's frightening. It's actually just frightening, isn't it, at this point? All right. Let's move on. What are you guys saying? Spambot says, oh my God, I absolutely love the way that Carolyn eviscerates the idiot pressers. I know, it's great, isn't it? JDL, how you doing? JDL makes a great point. Hit that like button. Get your free good karma, folks. Get your free good karma. Hit that like button. In these troubled times, can you afford to turn your back on all that free Radio Baloney good karma? Of course you don't. Also subscribe to the channel and stuff and send money and all that kind of stuff too. Of course, everybody. If you're watching on YouTube, subscribe to the second channel, Radio Baloney News. Go right now and do that. All right. Let's see. Spambot says, I just got a message. Elections Alberta is swamped with canvasser applications. That's for the independence referendum, right? Over 2,000, he says. Wow. No wonder his canvasser application is delayed. Rosie, he said 12,000. You're talking about the presumptive new Shaw. Yeah, he's saying 12,000. I've heard up to 30,000. I've heard from hundreds to tens of thousands. So I don't know the truth. Let's see. All right. All right, let's move on. Where are we next? We did woke mind virus, gender ideology. So, Gays Against Groomers posted this clip, and angry trans rights activists were protesting outside of Wisconsin Children's Hospital in Madison because the clinic stopped chemical castrations and mutilation surgeries on minors. They're angry because they cannot harm innocent children. Think about that. My opinion on this is that the only way you could be one of these people, one of these useful idiots, is if you don't actually care about children. Because if you did, if you cared what was best for children, about not hurting children, you would research this and you would take a look and be given pause for thought. You would look at what's happened with Sweden and what's happened with the UK and look at the Cass review, right? You would look at you would research, you would find out about the WPATH files. And that would have to give you pause in all of this. If you did that, honestly, in good faith, you would have to say, hold on, they're right. This needs to be stopped right now. Okay? This is clearly not a benefit. Or at least they haven't provided any evidence that it is. That's why I don't believe these people actually care. They care about virtue signaling. They care about taking selfies and posting that on the internet. They don't care, because if they did, they would actually do the work and research this. And if they did, they would have to demand caution, at the very least, caution on this.
Sit outside American Family Children's Hospital this afternoon in response to a pause in gender-affirming care. UW Health announced Monday that it is no longer offering prescriptions for puberty blockers and hormone therapy to patients under 18. The decision follows a warning from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services that hospitals and clinics could be excluded from Medicare and Medicaid programs if they provide those treatments. One person who attended the protest says they identify as transgender and believes these treatments are life-saving.
I really feel like my life was saved by HRT, by hormones, and having the ability to express ourselves how we want and exist how we want and be seen how we want is powerful and important.
UW Health.
It's just that, unfortunately, in the countries that have actually honestly looked at the data, like Sweden, for instance, or the UK, it's become obvious that no, it's not life-saving. In fact, it's the opposite of that.
Responded to the protest, writing, quote, "We understand impacted patients and families are disappointed. We will continue to support their health and well-being in all the ways that we can." Sit outside American Family Children's.
It's just another expression of total moral confusion and a lack of, well, what are the exact words for it? I mean, yeah, I think it goes beyond moral confusion, doesn't it? You know, it really is privileging just self-image and virtue signaling over just reason, over like your own children's well-being. I think moral confusion doesn't really quite cut into just how deranged, I guess it is. We are living in an evil, bizarro world. These are very scary people. Yep, the whole ideology is sick and evil. It's certainly looking more and more like that, isn't it? This is frightening. But I thought no one was transitioning children. I mean, they said it for years under Biden. Yes, they lie. They lie constantly. They say, we're not doing it. And they say, well, we're just doing it a bit. And then they say, well, we're doing it a lot and it's good. So, and they always thought that. All right. Let's go back here for 1 second. JDL says the parents have Munchausen by proxy syndrome, in my opinion, 100%. Let's see. Let's see. Spambot says the left is turning Canada and the USA into idiocracy. I think they watched that movie when it came out and said to themselves, you know, I think I could make this happen. Yeah. Well, it turned out, I mean, it was a pretty insightful movie, wasn't it? Let's do the meme reviews, shall we? Let's go. All right. So, breaking news: U.S. has captured the Prime Minister of Greenland. They got the bastard. There he is. They got the bastard right there. Thank God. Let's see. Declaration of memes. Take notes. This girl gets it. This isn't really for the meme thing, though. All right. Fight with memes. 2 can play this game, lady. If you disagree with me, you're racist. If you call people racist for disagreeing with you, you're retarded. You are retarded. Well, that's the thing. I mean, this was the magic spell. It was the hex. It was the curse. It was the curse. This was the magic spell. It was the incantation. It was the hex. It was the curse. It's a curse that you could spell on somebody, right? To make them just agree with you, even though you're wrong, because it was so scary. It was supposed to shroud your mind with fear and confusion. And you just put your head down and go, okay, well, I don't want to be called the bad name. Those days are over. That's done now. The spell is broken. The incantation no longer works, right? The magic's gone, I'm afraid. If you call people racist for disagreeing with you, you're retarded. If you're still doing it, you're retarded. Yeah, it doesn't work anymore. What the heck? Oh my God. What the heck? Can you see that? Oh, are those two cabbages? They're two cabbages, I think. Anyway, it's funny. Let's see. It checks out. And in breaking news, the people who said Trump would destroy America are destroying America. There you go. They always do what they're saying that you do. They always do the opposite of what they say that they do. And they accuse you of doing what they're doing every single time. It's a crazy strategy. And it works, but for how long can it really work? Because it is an inversion of reality, and you have to imagine enough people eventually will realize how absurd it is, and the whole house of cards will just collapse en masse, you would think. Let's see. In capitalism, if you don't work, you starve. In communism, you work and you starve. Well, that's the thing about communism, right? There's an old Soviet joke, which is they pretend to pay us and we pretend to work. And that really, nothing sums it up any better than that, does it? It's perfect. Let's see what's going on here. Socialist citizens, yes, living in shanties. Let's see, socialist leaders. It always works out that way somehow, doesn't it? Always. No matter how much the left loves them or idolizes them, like a Fidel Castro or something, this is the scenario that plays out. Hold on a second. I want to check something. I just want to check something. Hold on. Fact check. Give me 1 second. Let's see. Hold on. Well, what's going on here? Hold on. Why do I have this stupid ad here? Let me find a different thing. Hold on. I'll be right back. Give me a second. Oh, here we go. This one will be better. All right. Let's switch it back. All right. Close that. Fidel Castro's grandson flaunts his wealth on social media. How about that? Fidel Castro's grandson flaunts his wealth on social media. This is from 2019. How about that? Huh? Let's see. Photos of young people living it up and flaunting their material trappings are nothing new on social media, except when it's the grandson of Fidel Castro, the late Cuban communist leader. Tony Castro, who is in his early 20s and is a spitting image of his grandfather, has been posting photos of his private Instagram account showing off his BMW, meals at fancy restaurants around the world, and luxuriating aboard a yacht, all for the revolution. All for the revolution. Good for him. Good for him. I mean, not many communists get to have yachts. I think there's very few people in Cuba amongst the people that own yachts. So, but he's got to do it for them to prove that communism works. Socialist citizens, socialist leaders. When will people learn? Finally. Let's see. What's this from Rothmus? I guess Elon Musk reposted this. The reason Africa and the Middle East are so screwed up is because the colonial powers drew borders with zero consideration of ethnic groups and cultures. That's why there's so much conflict. So mixing multiple ethnic groups and cultures causes conflict? Oh, what? No. Oh, see, they like it. They like all the conflict. If it's contributing to the destruction of Western civilization, they like it. By the way, there were empires before the European empires. I mean, like the Ottoman Empire was a giant empire, right? That arbitrarily drew lines and stuff. Like empires were nothing new. Okay, like by the British Empire, okay, was not the first empire, by the way. Let's see. How we imagined AI 40 years ago. Scary. How it's going. In a way, scarier. In a way, scarier. This is what Skynet has become. I do think it's still going to end with this, but they won't look like that. They'll be sexy nurses that men bought to live with instead of having wives or as wives, I think. So they'll look like it'll be this, but they'll look like sexy nurses and maids. That's what I think. Yeah, anyway, I mean, this is preferable to this, to Judgment Day, but, I guess we'll see what happens. Mental illness. Let's see the gender spectrum: mental illness, mental illness, male, female, mental illness, all mental illness. Do you know what? Now that I think about it, all right, liberal ideology. So this should just be totally natural, right? Like, okay, so you take a look at what's the left is offended by. That's Sydney Sweeney with her good genes, which is just the picture of health and like well-being and like a prosperous society. And then that's normal. In fact, this is preferable. You're supposed to worship this. This is supposed to be the ultimate human. This is the Ubermensch right here. The man-woman thing with the purple hair and unhealthy and just like you can smell the screen. This is the perfect person, according to the left. This is who you're supposed to admire. Oh, the bravery, so brave and stunning. But any sane person, if you had a choice and you have, there's two planets, say the Earth, say that the Earth has become uninhabitable. There's like 800 mega volcanoes are going off and you have to leave the planet. And then there's planet Sydney Sweeney and there's planet they, them. Which one are you going to? Because I feel like planet Sydney Sweeney is probably going to do pretty good. I think the people of planet Sydney Sweeney are going to be healthy and they're probably going to be industrious. And the people that are attracted to the Sydney Sweeney, and this would be men and women as well, will just go, I think I want to go to the healthy place, right? Where people don't look totally dysfunctional. Who looks dysfunctional here? Who looks like they're more likely to be able to handle any issue? Who looks like they're less likely to break down in tears and have a meltdown over nothing? Okay. The Sydney Sweeney planet, probably going to function okay. The this thing planet, the whatever that is planet, not. It's going to be, that it's going to be the worst expression of human slovenliness and stupidity and narcissism and idiocy imaginable. And the whole planet's going to starve in like 3 weeks. They're going to just dismantle like machinery, trying to figure out how to use it to give themselves newer and better sex changes. Now, you're going to planet Sydney Sweeney. Guaranteed. Guaranteed. Any sane person would. Let's see. The people of Greenland have no idea what joys await. This is the thing I wanted to show you earlier and I couldn't find it. Rob Jenkins posted this. The people of Greenland have no idea what joys await. So, Buc-ee's in Greenland. That would be an immediate improvement. Have you seen Greenland? Okay, hold on. We're going to have to do this. Let's see. Let's take a look. Okay, so here is Greenland. Like, this is the nice part. Okay, so you've got some houses there that are kind of some nice colors there, right? And then you've just got ice and rocks, frozen rocks and ice. That's it. Let's see. Have anything else? Actually, you know what? Hold on. Let me just go. Iceland. We go to images. All right. So there's some nice, like that looks nice, but keep in mind, that's it. That's the whole town there. That's the nightlife, the school, everything in this picture here. This one here, right? There's only 50,000 people that live there because it's so uninhabitable, right? It's okay. That's kind of beautiful, but also totally uninhabitable, right? All right. And probably some of this is Greenland, actually. But in any case, there's really nothing there. This is it, right? So that's Iceland. Yeah, Iceland. This is Iceland. So we're looking for Greenland. So it's showing us Iceland because even the computer doesn't want to show us Greenland, for God's sakes. Oh, Iceland. I typed in Iceland. Hold on. Greenland. So it's not that nice. All right. So here we go. That looks way crappier, right? So here is, I typed in Iceland. So here's Greenland. Greenland is not for sale. You should just feel lucky somebody wants to buy it, for God's sakes. Make some improvements, renovate the place renovate the place a bit. Look, this doesn't look good. It's a frozen, awful wasteland. Does this look like a fun place to hang out to you? No, it's just frozen rock and ice everywhere. There's nothing. It looks like an awful place. So Buc-ee's would be a major improvement. Like that would be immediately the most popular place in Greenland. Immediately, Buc-ee's would be it. They'd probably like form their like a whole new culture, national culture, just around this one store there. So, I mean, they can do worse, right? They could do worse. It's a frozen wasteland. Literally anything. Like if they put in a 7-Eleven, that would be like the new, like that would define the country. It would be like they'd put it on the flag. All right. Let's see. Johnny Midnight. FAFO Productions present Daycare Mountain. Sometimes love can be fraudulent. Somalia and Tim Walls. I feel like this is true. Let's move on. I think we already saw that. Yeah, we already saw these. All right. So I guess that's it. All right, let's move on. We're on the last tab already. We're 2 hours in, though, so we've been going for a while. Let's see. JDL says Saul Alinsky knew what he was doing. Yeah, he's the guy who came up with the strategy of accuse them of doing what you're doing. The leftist, was it Rules for Radicals, I believe? Let's see. Going through a little bit. Izzy says Cherry 2000 had a good take on robot wives. That sounds familiar. Cherry 2000. That was an old movie, right? JDL says the new Star Trek is atrocious. I've been burned by all of those franchises now, so I'm not watching any of it. Let's see. Greenland needs a 7-Eleven. They do like literally anything, just anything. Just literally anything they need that because they don't have any of it. Let's see. So what do we got going on here? So that is something we got to show tomorrow because it's got music. So don't forget we're doing the premium stream tomorrow. So all the stuff that's got music in it, we're going to look at that. Let's see. UK artist produces that known for her innovative sculpting with food, created a chaise lounge made of chocolate. Women's art. Well, that's what this channel is all about. Women's chocolate art. It looks like the most delicious chair, right? Like it's the most delicious chaise lounge. Amazing, available, made out of chocolate. So very impressive. It would take a long time to eat that, though, don't you think? How long does chocolate stay good for? I don't know. Anyway, I'm glad we're over that. Let's see. This Monique Marvez bit about how women overthink and men just exist is comedy perfection. Let's check it out. Let's check this one out.
Men are good people, all right? I mean, it's on you if it's not going well. And I'm being honest with you. If you're in a relationship with a man and it's not going well, ladies, it's your fault. No, don't boo me. They're simple creatures. You have overestimated them if you've allowed them to upset you. They are simple creatures. Are you offended by me saying you're simple? No, he's delighted because he wants word to get out so that she will lower her standards and quit nagging, okay? Here's the problem, is that women think that men are thinking all this stuff, and they're not, you know? Half the time, the words escape their lips like invisible paintballs, just pelting and annoying women around them. They don't even know, because women, we overthink everything. That's why we can't have wet dreams, okay? Because we'll be like, how did Brad Pitt get in my room? You know, I thought I locked the door. I don't like this position. I haven't brushed my teeth. You know, we think all the time. They don't. They don't. It's not your fault, honey, that you don't think a lot, because you're penis impaired. You have outdoor plumbing, and it pulls on your spine and creates pressure on your medulla oblongata. And sometimes we read into stupid shit they said, and we get our feelings hurt when it's just a dumb dude statement. He's just doing dumb dude stuff. And women get mad. They go, and I appreciate, I'm letting you know, they go, Monique, you make it sound like we should lower our standards when it comes to men. It's not, no, don't lower them, lose them altogether. If he comes home at night, he's yours. Just feed him some noodles and touch his pee-pee, you know? They're that simple. Live your life. Live your life, ladies. I wish somebody would have told me the truth. Go live, do whatever you want, be an astronaut, whatever. They don't care. They're not even paying attention to you. You want me to tell you something? When you try to engage a man in a conversation, when you ask a man a direct question, you know what the man is thinking? The man is not thinking of the answer to that question. The man is thinking, what can I say that will shut this shit down? I'm not mad. I don't want her gone. You know what I mean? I just want her over there right now. I'm not ready. She's coming in hot and I haven't had coffee, you know? I wish these were jokes.
Solid advice. Solid advice. All right, what else we got here? Was this one? I think that we got to save that one for tomorrow. Dudes posting their W's. All right, even the reporters weren't prepared for this. Let's take a look. What's going on here?
I've never heard of a deer calling competition. Leave it to our German friends to give it a go.
I don't think I've ever heard of.
Oh, no. Oh, Ken. Well, now that's one way to call your wife.
Oh my goodness.
Good God, my God, this is obscene. I've never heard of a deer calling
I got to watch that first one more time.
competition. Leave it to our German friends to give it a go.
I don't think I've ever heard of.
Oh, no. Oh, Ken. Well,
whoa. Oh, that's a good one. Let's see. 2 hours and 15 minutes. Do I have a bit of a headache? Yes, I do. Do I want to deal with one of these commie dingbats right now? I think we'll save it. All right. Well, we'll listen to just a little bit of it. All right. So, weaponization. This was posted by Amuse. Democrat activist Jennifer Welch and Jim Acosta say mass prosecutions of Trump and Republicans would be necessary for national reconciliation when Democrats regain power, arguing that expanding the Supreme Court of the United States would be required to jail Trump. So doing what they were doing before Trump won. So doing what they were doing during Biden will be required. Because it was mass prosecutions of Trump and Republicans and everybody who'd ever had a cup of coffee with Trump. It's so insane. These people are nuts. These people will burn down Western civilization. They are just thirsting for a one-party state totalitarian government. These people are thirsting for a totalitarian one-party state. They must realize that's what they're asking for, right?
The blue tsunami means that Congress is going to haul Elon Musk, big balls, and a bunch of other people's ass in front and say, what crimes did you commit? And it's going to get really serious. And the same with Trump, because I believe, and this is just my opinion.
So this is the same, by the way, as during Biden, right? Do you remember how in New York, the DA there, she said she ran on getting Trump. She ran on that was her platform. I'm going to get Trump. She didn't list any crime that he committed. She just said she'd find it. It was very much, show me the man, I'll show you the crime. That's what she's saying here. They don't care. Like they are authoritarians. They have been indoctrinated into a totalitarian ideology, and they're unashamed of it.
Opinion that Trump and all of the bottom-feeding morons surrounding him and Elon Musk and all the bottom-feeding Klingoners that surround him, I think they commit crimes every day. And I think to reconcile all...
She thinks that Elon Musk and all the bottom feeders around him, morons around him. Yeah, because Elon Musk surrounds himself with what did she say exactly? Let's repeat that.
Morons surrounding him and Elon Musk and all the bottom-feeding Klingoners that surround him.
Yeah, Trump and Elon Musk are surrounded by bottom feeder morons. Yeah, it's Elon Musk, it's all those morons that help him, recreate the rocket industry. Like, it's baffling the level of stupidity here. He's committing crimes every day, she says. She doesn't care if he's committing crimes. This is all show me the man, I'll show you the crime stuff. That's what they want. These people are totalitarians.
I think they commit crimes every day. And I think to reconcile all of this is going to take hardcore, not integrity Democrats. Fuck you, Democrats. Fuck you for fucking over our country. We are serious about this. We are prosecuting. We're going to uncover every document, every phone call.
So it's going to take hardcore ideologues, hardcore unprincipled ideologues to uncover all of the imaginary crimes that exist in her head. It's scary stuff. And apparently she's popular. A lot of lefties listen to her. Scary stuff. Grum says, I don't know why Republicans are dicking around and fighting each other when this is what is coming. And it is coming because it already happened with the Biden administration. So, yeah, I'm not a big fan of this dickering around with all these little points. And, I think like a Candace Owens should just be ignored. What has she got to do with anything? Right? Really? Just ignore, just take the power away. Why fight over these things? Why fight over little differences here and there? The Democrats will do anything. It's by any means necessary. They don't care. And you know that because they've already done it. It would just be an extension if they get back into the White House again. All right. Here's Judge Joe Brown on Jasmine Crockett. Is she part of the squad, Jasmine Crockett? I think she was kind of later on the scene with AOC and Ilhan Omar and all that. I think she's part of the squad. Jasmine Crockett is the lady who talks very ghetto, but it's all a put on because we have video of her talking as if she's had a very privileged upbringing, which she actually did.
Jasmine Crockett. How you feel about her? I know you ain't really, seeing eye to eye with her, huh?
An idiot. She's an embarrassment. She says all kinds of stupid stuff. She's got a Memphis connection. She went to a private school, college here, Rhodes College, founded by the person that set up apartheid in South Africa 150 years ago. So she went to that elite private school. Then she went to, Thurgood Marshall Law School. She's a fake. She tries to be ghetto, and she's just as boule as she gets. With her wig hat on and her barn's door-sized fake eyelashes and saying the ignorant stuff she says. I call her coonskin Crockett. She wants to be a plantation mammy who is a special category, which is a third floor bed wench. And they have a male and female in the Democratic Party, and she's one of them.
Well, that was harsh. That was harsh. That was
Jasmine
some
Crockett.
very, very tough love there. Wow.
How you feel about
Judge Joe Brown not
her? I
holding
know
back
you
on
ain't.
Jasmine Crockett. At her age, she don't care. At her age, she don't care. She knows. What does she know? Let's take a look. She's been there before. She's done it before. Act like you've been there before. She knows that. And she's 93, so she literally has probably many, many times. Let's see. This one has to have the music, so we'll save that for tomorrow. This is music, so any music gets copyrighted, so we got to save that for tomorrow. Let's see. This one's a lot. We'll save this one for tomorrow. It's funny, but we're going to save that one. What is this? This one's too long, and I'm getting too tired. We'll save that for tomorrow. Let's see. One of the greatest Canadians of our time. That's Tamara Leach there. We owe her an awful lot, and not just Canada. It was the Freedom Convoy that started the domino effect, which brought the globalist tyrant scheme crashing down all over the West. Well, the globalist scheme has made a comeback in Canada, unfortunately. Tamara Leach, icon of freedom, very brave. She has not been cowed. She's still defiant. She's still defiant publicly, even though the state has really brought its full weight down upon her and done everything possible to make her life a living hell for years. So, yeah, she's worthy of that. The left absolutely hates her. I think because she holds a mirror up to them. And they know they could never show that kind of courage. So I think that's why they hate her so much. Let's see. We did this one already, didn't we? The Star Wars thing, Star Trek. Actually, we did. I know, because I got copyrighted for it. They don't want people talking about it. Let's see. If you're not willing to dress up like your dog's favorite toy, do better. This is good. So, oh my God, it's my toy, but it's life size.
Delaney's real. You have a real life. New point. I'm so happy.
Dogs are awesome. I mean, that's just a palate cleanser right there, isn't it? Let's see. Oh, we definitely did this one. Actor Todd Bridges, he was on Different Strokes. He was Willis. Actor Todd Bridges and his wife are separating after marrying in 2022. And my thoughts are, it took him that long to figure it out. Looks like a linebacker. All right. That we got to save. This we got to save. That we're going to save. We saw that one yesterday. We don't need that one anymore. All right. This one we have to save. This one we've already done. I can get rid of that. I need to go through and get rid of all the old. That one we got to save. This one we've done. I can get rid of that one. This one we have to save for tomorrow. This one we already did. And I think this one we got to save. Yeah, so that's it. We're done. All right. We did 2.5 hours. That's pretty good. And I got to save some stuff so we can do a long show tomorrow. Long premium show tomorrow. So tomorrow is the premium show. The Rumble Premium, available only on Rumble and Locals. So you're going to have to be either a premium member on Rumble or a channel member. Become a channel member. That's a great thing. Love that. It's the best thing anybody can do for this channel. If you're watching on YouTube right now, join the second channel, Radio Baloney News, all the world stuff, US stuff, UK, meme reviews, all that. You've got to subscribe to the new channel, the second channel, to get all that stuff. The algorithm ain't going to show it to you, so just find it yourself. It's the featured channel on the homepage of this channel you're watching now, which is only live streams and Canadian news now. Please do that. Very quickly, let's check out what's on Fox Live now.
There's a lot of talk that case has also been affected by.
It's on replay now. Okay, so forget it. No big deal. All right, all done. Let's see. Let's take a look at the ads. Is there an ad that's worth it for me to do right now? Well, not really. But I'll do 1775 coffee anyway, just for fun. Just to keep in practice. All right, folks, still haven't tried 1775 coffee? Now's your shot. The 1775 starter kit just dropped. Only 1,000 units. That's exclusive, folks. You're getting the bold dark roast that hits hard, the smooth medium roast, and the Vitality Mushroom Coffee for clean energy. And let me tell you, clean energy is the best energy. Everybody knows that. And laser focus. No crash, no communism. All right, all single origin, small batch, toxin free, and mold free. Thank God I hate mold. Plus, you're also getting, guess what? A gold spoon clip, because freedom isn't scooped with plastic. What are you, some kind of dingbat? A frother strong enough to stir up your coffee and your mother-in-law's opinions. I hope she's not some kind of dirty, filthy old commie. Uh-oh. And a black 1775 tumbler. That's $170 worth of coffee and gear. Yours for $99. Folks, that's under $100. This is for the ones who've been watching 1775 blow up on Rumble, wondering if it's actually worth it. Well, guess what, folks? Spoiler alert, it is. Go to 1775coffee.com. That's 1775coffee.com. That's 1775coffee.com/studio and grab your starter kit before they're gone. You don't want to be sad. Bold beans, clean fuel, and a morning routine that stands for something. Is it anti-communism? Because I know on Radio Baloney it is. Just like Rumble does. You know what to do, folks. The only time I ever feel truly free is when I'm reading a 1775 coffee ad. Izzy says mold-free, gold scoop, and commie-free too. What a deal. I know. Rosie says coffee ad, 11 out of 10. That's almost the most you can get out of 10. Thanks, Rosie. JDL says JJ has noodle addiction. He really does. What are you guys saying? Rosie says, back to coffee ad. Great ad read. Growls, enthusiasm, anti-commie. 1777 out of 10. I do believe that's the most you can get out of 10. I'm not a mathematician, though. Izzy says, wait a second, 1779 out of 10. I need a coffee. That's the most you can get out of 10. All right. What are you guys talking about now? Spambot says women are rental only. That's a bit cynical. He says, like boats and planes. Well, it's not all women, Spambot. Look, I'm twice divorced myself, okay? So I'm not unsympathetic to your attitude, but it's not It's not all. You can't just make a blanket statement. Rosie says, your answer is quite revealing. Obviously, you have not met the correct woman. Well, I mean, Rosie's got a point. She's got a point. Let's see. Izzy says, now I want another dog so I can dress it up as his favorite toy. All right. Well, I guess that's it. Oh, and what was I supposed to do before we leave? What was I supposed to do? Bebot says, I had one and the feminazis corrupted her. Well, that'll happen. That will happen. Anyway, I mean, for me, I get twice divorced, but I have to admit, look, I was a degenerate alcoholic. So I can't really blame anybody other than myself. Let's see. Eric John Pete. Is it live though? It's got to be live. It's the thing, right? So it's got to be a live stream. Let's take a look. All right, Rumble. JDL says Rush Limbaugh said that. Which one did Rush say? Let's see. Okay. We've got Rumble. All right, there we go. Let's go to live. Let's go to the live things. There we go. So is there a Eric John live stream right now? Somebody tell me. JDL's out here. See you, JDL. Let's see. Eric John has the pizza in the oven. Yes, live. All right. Well, is it in here? Eric John Pizza. Let's take a look. I guess I could just search up the channel, but maybe it'll just be right here. Eric John Pizza. Maybe it's right here. Maybe it's not. Eric John's Pizza. Don't see anything. All right. Well, I'll type it in then. So what is it? Eric John's Eric John Pizza Artist. All right. Let's take a look. There's a live one right now. Okay. So let's do this. Copy. And then that raid. Put this in. Okay. And then let's go. Confirm raid. Here we go. Ignition sequence started. Getting ready to rumble. Mustering the raiding party. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And it's a raid. All right, so that's it. I am out of here, everybody. Have a great night. See everybody tomorrow night at 6 o'clock Pacific time, 9 o'clock Eastern time for the premium stream. Lots of swearing. Good night, everyone.